breakfast. Forget about that. Should get some. Yeah, you should probably, you know, grab that breakfast. I didn't eat any breakfast today. Getting all hungry. Eat chocolate for breakfast? It is the Christmas season. Let yourself go. Enjoy yourself.
So, wise words there from Corbett, who is an awesome Wild Mode streamer. I would highly recommend that you check him out on Twitch. He's very entertaining, super down to earth, and very, very interactive with his chat. And he gives great life advice. I mean, he agreed with me that eating chocolate for breakfast is a good thing. And at this time now, it is actually Christmas Day as I'm recording this, and I'm eating chocolate, so I am very, very happy. But today we are not playing Wild Mode. Today we're taking a slight detour. We're playing Standard, and I fancied playing a bit of Galakrond Warlock, just because I like Galakrond, and I like a sort of a zoo style of play, which is what this deck offers, kind of. The idea is you go super wide on the board, and you can do that very early on. You have scarab eggs, you have serpent eggs. You can destroy those eggs and get a wider board. Invoking Galakrond with this deck summons 1/1 imps, allowing you to go, again, wide on the board. And what you can then do is buff that board. You can play Grim Rally, which will destroy a minion and then give everything else +1/+1 in stats. You can play Sea Giants very early in this deck, and that can be quite unexpected for your opponent. Dragon Blight Cultist is a very interesting card in this deck. What it accomplishes is it will invoke Galakrond, so you get some imps on the board, but the Cultist will gain +1 attack for every other friendly minion. So very early on, you can end up with a Cultist with a massive attack power that your opponent has to somehow deal with. So far, this deck has been very successful for me. Let's look at the stats. I have played 28, no, not 28 games. I've won 28 games and I've lost 8 games. So it's a 78% win rate on the standard ladder. You'll notice there were a few losses against hunters when I first started playing the deck. And it turned out that hunters were just far too aggressive for me. Face hunters in particular. And I just couldn't cope with their aggression. But as time went on, if you look at my more recent games, I've actually started beating hunters. And so maybe I have learnt from my misplays, and maybe I've learnt how to play the deck a little bit better. Or maybe my RNG was just better. Who knows? But yes, let's have a look at this deck in action here. Sometimes things just don't work out as expected. I talked about a wide board presence earlier. I talked about putting your opponent under significant pressure earlier. And we've got 2 Sea Giants on the board. That is huge pressure. And of course, he gets Deathwing from a bloody lackey. That's unbelievable. Now I've got 6 attack on board, and I have a taunt that I can play. So the question is, can I outvalue him?
I will act as your scaled dragon.
In terms of face damage. So I take an opportunity here to weaken Deathwing, because we can kill it next turn. He has to trade into the taunt. We can kill it next turn. Hopefully he doesn't touch my face with that. But of course, he invokes Galakrond. He gets the rush effects. And we just die. Unbelievable. But hey, how do you stop Deathwing? Alright, let's look at another game here. We're going up against a hunter. Now, I mentioned earlier about hunters being very awkward and very annoying to play against. Face Hunter in particular, because They spend their time taking full advantage of that 2 damage hero power. And what is interesting is Leper Gnome has made a comeback in the meta. And in the end, it's just too much damage, it all adds up, and you just die. So I coined out the Void Walker here. Just because I know that he's going to play low attack, low health minions initially. I want to be able to do everything in my power to contest them. That's why I coined out the Void Walker. Didn't coin it out for the damage. I mean, it's 1 attack. It's not going to be doing any kind of significant damage to him. But he's ignoring the board. He's not playing anything on his own board. He's just targeting my face. Okay, so Dragonblight Cultist play. That's the card I was talking about earlier. It invokes Galakrond. And it gains attack power for all of the other minions on board. The only problem with this is Explosive Trap. If the cultist had 2 health, or actually 3 health, I should say, it would be immune to Explosive Trap. If it had 2 health, it would be immune to a mage pinging it down, or a druid pinging it down. Unfortunately, it has 1 health, so it is quite vulnerable. But if they can't deal with it, it can push a lot of damage face. In this case, Freezing Trap was what dealt with it. I was expecting Explosive. I was expecting and fearful of Explosive, but thankfully it was only Freezing. So now we have the board advantage. He's never getting that board back. He would need double Explosive Trap to get this board back. So can he do enough damage to my face? We're both at 22 here, so it's a bit of a standoff in terms of health. Very interesting.
Well played.
Well, as long as he's focusing on my board and not targeting my face, we're quite happy. And worth noting, he's an aggro deck. And he's thinking. You don't see this very often, an aggro deck roping because they don't know what to do. Or is he just roping because he... No, okay, I was going to say, was he roping because he wants to annoy me? I think he was thinking. Oh, misdirection, wow. See, that's a secret that's made a comeback.
I will act as your scapegoat.
And that's actually quite refreshing. You know, misdirection, leper gnome. Seeing those cards back in the standard meta is pretty cool. Right, we're down to 17. We're down to 17 on the basis that he's just been targeting my face with spells. He's done very little on the board for the entire game.
His will is done.
And yet he was still able to get me down to 17, which is interesting. It does show you how explosive Face Hunter can still be without a board. I mean, we haven't even got to the leper gnomes yet. Huh. So, is that double kill command unbelievable? Actually puts me down to 7. Despite never having developed any significant board through the course of this game. Still got me down to 7.
The forest fights back.
Your soul shall be mine.
Gets a druid here. Now I'm going to keep the scarab egg. Okay, there's serpent egg. Right. I kept the egg thinking that I'd find a way to either pop it or do something else productive with it, but it looks like for maybe a couple of turns, these eggs are just going to be... Oh no, actually that changes everything. I was going to say maybe for a couple of turns these eggs are just going to be stationary, redundant on the board, but now we can actually buff them up. So, Fiendish Rites, which is the card that I drew. Really, really good. It invokes Galakrond, so you get 2/1/1 imps. And it gives your minions +1 attack. So, really, really good for activating eggs. And also very good for just pushing unexpected lethals against your opponent. So we're going up against a Treant Druid. And so you know what is coming down on turn 8. Right? It's the spell that fills the boards with Treants. We know that's going to be coming on turn 8 and we have to be wary of that. I forget what it's called. Wow. Okay, so I think we have to buff our eggs here.
This be our neck of the woods.
Okay. That's fine. It's quite a slow play. He's not developing anything massive here. I want to see if I can get more value from Snip Snap. So I could have played it last turn rather than the egg. But I want to see if I can get more value from it. Playing just one copy of it, is not great. So we just continue to go card for card here. Maybe Galakrond will be what swings this game back into our favour. Okay, we get a cultist. Evil Genius is pretty good, but maybe not right now. Maybe next turn.
Bones of the fallen.
Okay, so we've invoked Galakrond. We trade off. This feels okay. This feels okay, but again, conscious of turn 8. Also, the disadvantage of playing the Dragonblight Cultist there, it's got 1 health. It's dealt with very, very easily. Oh, there's a Sea Giant. That's big. That's a massive draw. Okay, we can actually taunt it up here, which is in itself absolutely massive because it's unlikely that he's going to be able to get through it with what he's got on board. He needs some extra help from hand. Okay, here it comes. We know what's coming. 8 mana spell. Yeah, Forest Sage. That's what it was called. So we need to do what we can here to clean up his board. Because we know that it's going to come down again. So we're going to take Twisting Nether. Or Shriek, but no. Twisting Nether is, I think, a better play. Alright, so that's how he kills the Sea Giant. Galakrond is not fully invoked yet.
This be our neck of the woods.
But in a matchup like this, you don't need full value from Galakrond. You just need some value from him. I do get confused sometimes when I play this deck, because you have to count the minions on your board. Okay, now we get full value. Yeah, you do have to count the minions on your board and make sure that when you invoke Galakrond, you summon those imps, that you trade off other stuff, so there's room to summon those additional imps. Bit of counting involved, bit of math involved. That makes it hard. So like here, I'm trying to work out how much space I need on the board, what I should be trading off in order to play the cultist.
Back to the void. Bones of the fall.
Yeah. Okay. We're actually going to lose value here on Scarabeg. We only get one minion summoned, but that's fine. This is still a substantial board. But look, Fancied, there it is. At least he's only summoning 5 Treants and not 7. Alright. We can continue to trade off here, but actually, in any world, do you just go face? I don't think you do, right?
Yes, I will destroy them.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. So we want to get the Sea Giant played, I think, for sure.
His will be done.
Tap last, kind of. And we only get the one Slip Snap down. I know I said earlier it'd be better to get at least 2 copies down, but this is still fine. We had a bit of a balance on that last turn, a balance between trading and a balance between going face. The key thing to watch out for is Savage Roar. You don't want to be dead to Savage Roar, or double Savage Roar. And I think in this instance, I think I'm protected from that.
Yeah.
Because I've got 2 taunts in the way. So I don't think double Savage Roar kills us here. Although it's unlikely that he's got 2 copies in hand at this point.
What if... Time goes short.
Okay, Blessing of the Ancients buffs that board up. He was not able to kill the Sea Giant though.
Well played.
And so we get the full value Galakrond. We buff our board up. And that's game over.
Can't win them all.
That was really awesome.
Victory or
Okay, our next game
soul shall be mine.
against a warrior. I'm going to assume it's a Galakrond warrior. And I'm mulliganing here for a Flame Imp, Voidwalker. We get a Voidwalker at least. Oh, Blazing Battle Mage, also really, really good to get for turn 1. It's just a good statted card to play.
The fires of vengeance burn bright.
Okay, he doesn't have anything. I could have tapped to be mana efficient, but developing on the board seems a bit more important here. Oh boy, this is a pirate deck. That's a bit scary actually.
As you command.
We need to kill that. That cannot be allowed to live. Because even with 3 mana next turn, I wonder how many pirates he could get down onto the board. In theory, he could get down 3 pirates with 3 mana. If he's got 1-cost pirates. Or pirates that summon other pirates from hand to board. Unlike patches in Wild, which comes from your deck. Okay, there's a haha. Alright, a tempo 5/4 minion there. Not ideal, but we need board presence against his deck. He's aggressive. Yeah, the pirate I was thinking about on that last turn, I had to look it up. There's a Parachute Brigand. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your hand. So in theory, on that previous turn, he could have played a couple of 1-cost pirates, maybe, and then had a Parachute Brigand in his hand and put that down to the board. There was always that possibility. Alright, so it comes down to board presence here. Our ability to push with these buffed up minions versus his ability to whack my face with a weapon. Right. So, 5 attack weapon versus this board. Of course, he pushes face. And thankfully, this is standard. So on standard, there's no Death Spite. Having 1 health minions against Death Spite, not good. Oh, Sea Giant. But not just yet. We're going to keep the Sea Giant as a surprise. For now, we just focus on going as wide as possible. Just in case he runs Brawl. I don't think he does. He's an aggressive deck. But there's always a possibility.
The pirate's code.
I mean, it is ranked 7 at standard, so it's definitely a possibility. Still pushing face. So, we don't have lethal here. We're close. We could tap and look for it, maybe. But do I want to risk? Do I want to risk it? I don't feel like tapping. I'm at a respectable health total. I don't want to lose to any silly shenanigans. I mean, it'd be very difficult for him to kill me at this health total. I mean, 14 damage now. Okay, for the War Chief, that's another 4. That's another 4, that's 8. He's actually would have come pretty close to killing me. Okay, there's the... So if we'd tapped, could have got Grid Rally. Oh well. We played it safe, we still won the game.
Gul'dan versus Uther.
I will fight with honor.
Okay,
Your
so
soul shall be mine.
going up against Paladin here. I like these 1-drops. These 1-drops are reasonable. We'll hopefully contest whatever he decides to play. Okay, Christology, here we go. The key thing is, though, I've got the advantage. I've got the initiative.
Vengeance burn bright.
And so we start out with a sort of a classic zoo-style play here. 2 minions on board. In the old days of Zoolock, it was usually the Flame Imp and the Void Walker. That was the classic play. But Battle Mage with 2 attack, I think, just seems a little bit better than the Void Walker. As something to put down first. And now we can use the Void Walkers to protect the Battle Mage. But we have a really nice turn 3 play on the way. Dragonblight Cultist.
A good explorer comes prepared.
Oh, he plays a dragon. Interesting. It's got lifesteal too.
Bones of the fallen.
Right.
You're fired.
That's a pretty threatening, cultist there. It's got 7 attack. Huh. Interesting. Subdue.
The light bends.
And there's a sea giant.
All mine.
A sea giant coming down on turn 4. Sea giant on turn 4 in itself could just be a game-winning play if they can't deal with it. I mean, thank goodness he used Subdue on the cultist. The question I have to ask myself is, do I want to go face or do I want to trade? The trouble with me is, at times I'm too defensive. And so, my mind is telling me to trade. Yeah, because that's what I'm used to doing. Yeah, I'm used to trading. So, that's what my brain is telling me to do. But, if I'd gone face, would that have been better? So, quite an impressive turn for him there. Putting a good few mechs down onto the board. Ooh, Grim Rally. It's not lethal as far as I can see. So I think we just continue trading. That sea giant has absorbed 2 big hits into minions. It's still alive. That's a massive deal. I probably should have killed the Skyclaw.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, I should have killed that first. The sea giant took additional damage there, so that was a bad misplay on my part. But look, it's still alive, so can't complain too much.
Is this really necessary?
Alright, that's better. Alright, almost ran out of time there.
Converting stored energy.
And unless he can taunt it up, that should just be game over. But we'll draw some cards.
Yes, I will destroy.
Let's see what we can get. There's Galakrond.
All mine.
Not needed in this game.
Victory is yours.
Alright. So, outvaluing that mech paladin. Alright, one more game.
The forest fights
And it's another druid.
Soul shall be mine.
So, very happy to see the Flame Imp and the Battle Mage.
I'll get right on it.
Now, Solarium is a card that I've not really had that much value from in this deck, or maybe I'm not using it in the correct way. Maybe I'm not being perceptive enough in terms of how to take full advantage of Solarium. I guess
the fires of vengeance burn
in a difficult situation, it can find you an emergency solution,
The end is
particularly late in the game. And this play right here, absolutely beautiful.
Necessary?
job's done.
Fiendish Rites kills off the Doomsayer, and we are left with a substantial board. Now, that's a cute play. Okay, we're still going to trade though. That's helpful. Swipe would be absolutely disastrous for us here if he were to have it.
turn the incubators to
He doesn't have it. Instead, he discounts his dragons. Okay.
Why do you call?
Maybe I should have gone face there. Maybe. Because that would have been 4 additional damage face. And then maybe I could race him.
We must stop this corruption.
Ah, that's annoying. Yeah, taunt is cheat against us.
I will act as your scathed dragon.
There's not much we can do here. We can kill that next turn. But we know that he's discounted his dragons. And so I'm expecting a stream of cheap dragons to start coming down now. That's a sheep dragon. Okay. Draw some cards.
Yes, I will destroy them.
Grim Rally is really good. Oh, double Grim Rally. Even better. The question is, do we go off with both on this turn?
The fires of vengeance burn bright.
No. I think we wait. There was no chance of lethal with the second Grim Rally, and
We must stop this corruption.
just in case he's got a way of clearing this board, we want to hold off. Yeah. Alright, what do we get from Galakrond? Oh, we get Jiraxis. That's something. That's actually massive. We're going to kill off the 5-2, which I know looks bad, but it can't attack this turn. And I'd rather buff minions that can attack.
Stop meddling. Stop meddling. You're fired.
Alright. So next turn should be lethal. Yeah, that's not going to help you.
I see a vision in the flame.
And that's not going to do much either. Yeah, that's game over.
I can't win them all.
And there we go. Rank 5. Okay, so after that I did play a few more games and I did manage to get myself to rank 4 with this deck, contributing to that 78% win rate. If you are looking for a quick deck to ladder with on standard, this is definitely a deck that I think you should try. It works very, very well against most decks that are out there on the standard ladder because you can fill boards up very, very quickly, buff boards up very, very quickly, and push a whole load of damage and end games very early. I think the toughest matches that you have are against decks that are more aggressive than you, that can actually push damage quicker than you. The other thing that's problematic is the fact you are a Warlock, and so you're tapping and you're tapping and you're tapping for more cards, in which time the Hunter is also hero powering you and then killing you. So yes, those have been the toughest matchups, but against mid-range and control, you can just destroy them very, very quickly before they can mount any kind of significant defense or before they can find their AoEs or their board clears. And even if they do play brawls or other spells that clear board, you can refill that board super fast. And actually, I love the Galakrond battle cry. If he's fully invoked, summoning 4 demons onto the board, I think that's really significant because most of the time that I've managed to get that, at least 2, maybe 3 out of the 4 demons have been significant in value, and have given me a board presence that's allowed me to push damage the following turn, and then maybe playing Kronk's Dragonhoof to then find further damage for lethal. So, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. We will be back to wild mode in our next video, and we will be looking at Jade Druid. So, until then, do take care, and I will see you, hopefully within a couple of days, for our next video.